let's get in. You want to get into that next, John? Let's just kind of show the people why
Yeah,
these
why is
schools
he
are
worth
right.
all of this? Yeah, let's get into that. Cormani's got a bunch of traits that really are no brainer type traits. I believe this is a underclassman tape or junior
It's
year
junior
tape.
tape. There's
Look,
no full season film. Yeah,
the length right away and instincts show. Look, first snap, first
right.
play, you see it, right? You see the reaction time, the understanding of let me use my speed and burst to break under this route as the ball is thrown. That's speaking of which, that's Ja'Curry Brown, the quarterback who is at Miami, ironically enough, for Lowndes High School. Easy interception, easy ball skills, and that length. Whether
He's
he's
almost touching the ground with his fingers in the stance, John.
whether he's at the line of scrimmage or off, that length is so it blurs the margin so much. It allows you to be a step behind. It allows you to be a little bit out of position. Just like a great receiver who has a great catch radius, it just enables you to be less technical, which is the biggest besides needing to add weight. That's the biggest discrepancy or gripe you could find in on instincts and athleticism. But man, when you do it at that size with those ball skills and instincts, it kind of just works. And that's what's propelled Cormani up everybody's board.
Well, for me, John, I mean, the athleticism is obvious, the length, the traits, and all that. I mean, he's in his stance in press corner, and he's literally could almost like touch the grass with his fingertips. I mean, that's an exceptional length, right? And that's so important for a cornerback, as you know, John. But the other part of it too is what you see. To me, you see corners that are just busts, right? And you say, well, why did that kid a bust? Because he was so good in high school, and it's like because he was just athletic in high school. He was just bigger and faster than everybody else. The thing that impresses me about Cormani, as you mentioned, he has a really good football IQ. He understands routes. He knows leverage, like that first interception, just knowing where to properly place himself against that receiver on a go route to where he can play the ball, but also not be vulnerable to the back shoulder, right? There's that understanding of the proper placement on a receiver's hip. There's, reading that quarterback, undercutting that route. You see a kid that has a really good feel for the game. He understands, like right here, this is a great example. He knows, okay, I've got to protect the outside, keep that inside. I mean, I'm closing on the seam route. I mean, that's a kid that's doing, now this is a terrible throw by the quarterback.
The receiver's not even looking.
But he's doing his job really well. He's playing zone. He's got to keep his man in front of him, but also know that I'm looking inside to number two. There's a seam route being thrown. I'm closing on the ball, and he picks it off, right? That translates to the next level. Maybe the next level, John, it's just a breakup or he knocks the ball out of the receiver's hand. Maybe it's not that easy of an interception. But the football IQ is what stands out to me on top of just the incredible ease of movement that he has. And that's what you want from big-time corners. And he's got all the tools. I mean, physically – and mentally from a football standpoint, John, I don't see anything lacking other than, as you mentioned, like most 17, 18-year-olds, he's got to get stronger.
Yeah.
That's going to be the key.
He's 6'1", a legit 6'1". He might be 6'2" by the time this recording is over. But yeah, he's probably a generous 180, 185. So that's, that's something that needs to be addressed, but it will. I mean, obviously you're going to be in some Power 5 strength conditioning nutritional program. But really what's alarmingly positive about Cormani compared to a lot of other corners is the production. You just don't get that opportunity to make that many plays on the football when you are considered an elite player. And he's had that tag on him for at least a couple years now, yet and still when the ball is in the air, he still finds a way to come down with it. And I think that's as we continue to push in the spread narrative of wide open offenses, basketball on grass, all of that. It's not so much the Darrelle Revis, hey, I held him to one catch for 7 yards. It's more of nothing came over the top of me, and I also got my hands on 5 passes and intercepted 1 or 2 of them. It's about taking the football away and affecting the football more than it ever has been. Because look, we're getting closer to 7-on-7, on Fridays and Saturdays and even Sundays. So it's about at what point do you stop the opposing offense and can you turn them over as opposed to just, forcing punts and playing field position? That doesn't work.
There's 2 other things too, John, too. Like number 1 is I love the route awareness here, to have his eyes on his guy and then the other guy. I mean, just the route awareness. But these last 2 plays, you've seen him come up and make tackles. And that's the other big
Absolutely.
thing in today's game. You've got to be able to tackle in space.
Yeah,
Because if you can't
he's
tackle
always
in
had that
space, you're going to
element.
be like in Deion Sanders' time, right? You don't have to be a great tackler. It's pro style systems. You just, hey, if the guy doesn't catch the ball, I don't have to tackle him. In
Yep.
today's game, with the now screens, the bubble screens, all the different things that teams do, the jet sweeps, you have to have a level of not say to be physical, but you have to have a level of I'm going to be able to go out and take on blocks and tackle people in space. And again, he's going to have to get stronger to really thrive at it. But you see a willingness to come up and stick. And he's a good form tackler. He goes low. He drives his shoulder through the guy's knees and thighs. There's a lot of good form tackling there, but it's the willingness that matters most to me.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
a great
another
point.
one, just great instincts. Like he's reading the quarterback. Forget what the receiver's doing. I'm reading the quarterback's eyes and just breaks it up.
And when did he settle down to read? Right at the goal line, which is
Right.
exactly what you're taught. You don't need to keep backpedaling into the end zone. Something's going to
Right.
break when you get to that front
Right.
pylon. And that's exactly when he snapped his head over to the quarterback.
And to wrap up too with Cormani, John, the thing that I like too is I do like guys that play both ways. I do. This is another example of just great awareness of what they're trying to do. They're trying to bait him into coming up and jumping that now screen, and he's just like, no, sorry. This is my job. My job is to stay here, and he does it. He's a really smart football player. But I also love guys that play both ways. I do. That was one of the reasons, last year, John, one of the corners that I really, really pushed for and talked a lot about was Benjamin Morrison, who went to Notre Dame and became a freshman All-American this year for Notre Dame. And there's a lot of that ease of movement that sometimes can mask just how fast you are that Benjamin had, that Cormani has, was a willing tackler. But I love the fact that he was a guy that played offense. And when you're a receiver and you're trying to learn how to get open, you then in your mind know, okay, well, this is what I would do as a receiver. This is what he's trying to do. And it gives you an understanding. Like I love safeties that played quarterback.
I was going to say running backs that played linebacker or vice versa.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Linebackers that play running back have projected incredibly well.
I love guys that play both ways in high school. And you don't see it as much anymore, but like that's what I loved about Travis Hunter last year. This kid could legit if Cormani McClain called up Notre Dame tomorrow and said, "Hey, I want to come there and play receiver," I'd be like, "All right, cool."
Yep.
100%. Like let's do it, And I love guys like that. I love football players. And that's the thing that with Cormani, he's not just athletic. He's not just long. He's a football player. And that's why teams are willing to kind of maybe sell their souls a little bit and deal with some things they wouldn't with most kids, because he's the kind of kid that just walks in the room and changes the ability of your room day one.